Hi, Claire and James here. Just before we get stuck into this week's episode, we wanted to let you know the exciting news that the Midlife Reset audit is now live. This is a first of its kind personalised diagnostic tool designed for midlifers by midlifers.
In just 3 minutes, the audit will help you pinpoint what's really holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife, and most importantly, provide tailored strategies on how to take back control. Midlife doesn't have to be a time of uncertainty. It can be an era of growth, discovery, and well-being. So to go ahead and take the audit, go to themidlifementors.com/audit.
We're bombarded on a daily basis with ways to live our best life, from managing our mental well-being and getting fit, to living longer and having better relationships. So in this episode, we wanted to share 12 midlife hacks that actually work.
The reality is, success comes from an accumulation of small changes that build up over time. These tips are the ones we actively pursue ourselves, having cut through all the fluff and pseudoscience out there. And what's more, they are super simple. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all? I'm going to be very British, talk about the weather. It's miserable outside at the moment.
Oh, let's not talk about the weather again. We do it every time.
It's cold. It's got really, we're doing this real time. This is going to go out this weekend. But I honestly don't think I've been as cold all winter as I was yesterday. With the howling winds, the rain, I had a pretty awful day yesterday. I wonder whether it was Friday the 13th yesterday, if I'm honest. Poor James wanted to lock himself in the bathroom.
I did lock myself in the bathroom.
Anyway, how are you all doing? We've had lots of exciting stuff go on, particularly you, Mr. D.
Yeah, it's been a really busy since, I don't know, when we last checked in on the podcast. Wow, I don't know where January's gone. We're already getting through February. My final proof of the book has gone off to the printers, so it's being printed. Should have some copies by the end of this month.
Remind us the name of it.
It's available for pre-order now, and you could get it from March the 12th. The Midlife Male Handbook, A Man's Guide to Thriving Through Andropause. And I managed to collect some really amazing endorsements as well from Sir Steve Redgrave, legendary Olympian, Liz Earle, MBE, Chip Conley, founder of the Modern Elder Movement, New York Times bestselling author, Lord James Bethell, who played a big role in the health of the last government.
Yeah.
He's a sitting peer in the House of Lords. Brandon Block, DJ, author, mental health advocate.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Amazing.
So that's been going on.
But you can get that from, I love the fact that you can get this from Waterstones, WH Smiths and Amazon.
Yes.
So
also being commissioned to write some features around the book, so kind of working on that in the next week.
In national press.
Getting some bits and bobs of press. So yeah, it's keeping us busy on our toes, isn't it?
Well, I'm really enthused about being his peer, because anyone that knows, you might not know, but before my career doing this, I had another life as a PR, and yeah, copywriting and all that kind of stuff. So I'm in my element because it's not about me. I'm actually really enjoying writing about James and doing lots of PR and social media stuff for him. So yeah, I feel I'm getting your speakers page, your web page sorted and all that kind of stuff. So it's really lovely to focus on you.
Oh, bless you. Yeah. It is lovely. It feels lovely as well. I appreciate all you're doing as well. So thank you.
We're doing workshops and podcasts galore, and James is on lots of US podcasts, all talking about andropause and bits and bobs. So, but without further ado, that's just a little
catch up.
I can't speak.
Today we are talking about 12 midlife hacks that actually work, because it's something we get asked about all the time. And listen, we always say this, it's not about that one big miracle thing that's going to change everything for you. It's about lots of small changes that compound over time to make a big difference.
Yeah, and also you might be out there in the digital world reading all these different longevity hacks and do this one thing and it's going to be magic for you. And you're like, oh my goodness. Like if I was to do all of those things, I'd be even more overwhelmed and exhausted than I already am. Like, which ones do I prioritize? And I know 12 might sound like a lot, but these are actually quite simple little hacks that we've done ourselves. So these aren't ones that we've just grabbed from the internet and thought, oh, they sound good. These are ones that James and I actually do ourselves and have improved our midlife mental and physical and emotional well-being over the last few years. So we wanted to share them with you, cut through the fluff, cut through the rubbish, and give you the real talk. So we're going to dive in.
We are.
Let's go.
Well, the first one is, right, where lots of people struggle is with their food. And that is because they don't plan. So tip number one is actually spend some time at the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, planning your healthy weekly meals, and then go out and shop for them. Because then it's not like every day, oh, what shall I eat? What's in the fridge? Oh, shall I order a takeaway? It's like, oh, I know on Tuesday I'm having this, on Wednesday I'm having this. You've got structure. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So
I just get that wrong.
Yeah. Just plan in what you're going to eat, make that plan. Obviously, good whole foods, good protein, lots of vegetables, minimize your sugars, your processed foods. Although we won't go deep dive into that. We've talked about it loads on other podcasts. But plan. And then you're not going to go off piste.
Yeah. Oh, and also don't go shopping hungry. How many times have we done that? But yeah, it's a real game changer. Our clients said, "Oh, it's such a simple thing, and it changes everything."
Also, you'll start to learn like easily repeatable meals that can be your fallback, your go-to. So it just makes everything easier, really. The other tip number two. Eat at least 2 hours before bed. Now, there's a few reasons for this. Number one is, if we go to bed with a full stomach, we'll raise our core temperature because our body's digesting. It'll make us harder to sleep. Obviously, sleep's very, very important for hormonal repair, for general health, and lowering stress. But the other reason for eating at least 2 hours before bed, if you want to leave a long fasting window, right? If we're trying to manage our body composition, i.e. get our body fat down, we want to try and leave as longer fasting window overnight as we can. So obviously, the earlier we eat, that means the longer we'll be fasting for overnight.
Great stuff. Thank you. Number 3 is, this is a real simple little hack, but drink a glass of water between each alcoholic drink. Now, I don't drink alcohol anymore, but when I did, I was really bad at doing this. And I wish I'd done this a bit more, but I know that when I did do this, it was really, really beneficial for me. It massively slows you down, the drinking, slows down, therefore, the alcohol absorption. But it also, studies show that proper hydration can cut a hangover severity by up to about 50%. So just making sure, being really, really conscious that you have an alcoholic drink, then you've got a glass of water, even having the glass of water there and having a sip of wine or whatever your drink of choice is, and then having water, whatever works for you, just making sure that you stay hydrated. Because as I said, proper hydration cuts hangover, slows down the alcohol absorption. It obviously helps you drink less, slows it down, and protects your liver and kidneys.
So I think I got this slightly wrong last Saturday, that I confused margaritas with water. Between every pint, I was having a margarita.
Yeah. But he's actually not that far from the truth, because James actually got a little bit overexcited that he'd done dry January, and he went out to the pub to watch the rugby without me, because our relationship actually has changed with regards to drinking. It's had to. I used to go to the pub with James all the time, and now it's really nice. James, there's no pressure for me to go to the pub with him. He just bimbles off and talks to people on his own and takes Lola. But he did come back on Saturday having drunk 5 pints and a margarita. So yes, this is one of those tips that, in theory, it's great, and we have practiced it, and it does help. But it's the practicing that obviously counts, James. Number 4 is make sure you eat protein on your plate first. Now, we all know that we should be eating protein for every meal, don't we? It is the miracle macro. But eating your protein first on your plate actually has some real benefits. And a study found that eating protein first reduces post-meal blood sugar spikes by up to 37% and overall insulin spikes by 40%. It also triggers our hormone called leptin, and leptin is our I'm full hormone. So we actually start feeling fuller, and it keeps us feeling fuller for longer, and therefore reduces overeating. So prioritizing that protein over carbs first is really, really helpful. And it also helps reduce those hunger hormones, ghrelin, making it easier to eat in a calorie deficit. So Really, like, this is such a key thing. Like, we're giving you small tips. This is what we promised right at the beginning of this podcast. We're giving you small tips to kind of like that going to make a massive difference. So yeah, eating protein on your plate first before the carbohydrates, before anything else, is a real game changer.
Yeah, and this goes for snacks too. When you fancy a snack, go for protein snacks rather than carbohydrate snacks.
Absolutely.
So rather than your biscuits or crisps, good quality nut butter, bit of biltong if that's your thing,
Or a
protein
protein shake. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, tip number 5 is work out when your productive time is and use that for new projects. We've each got our own unique circadian rhythm, but naturally, around 80% of people are most productive in the morning. And studies show that productivity drops by 10 to 20% in the early afternoon. Like basically, our willpower drops, our energy levels drop, all the rest of it. So we've talked about this before. We talked about the concept of eat the frog. What's that big task you really don't want to do? Do it first. Get it out of the way. You also get a little dopamine release from doing that. We've talked about this, discipline. You reinforce that reward center in the brain, so it gets more easier and easier to do these things. But work out when your productive time is and then plan your days accordingly.
Yeah, and I feel this has been a massive game changer for me, because that eat the frog thing was a real switch in my mind quite a few years ago now, of just getting those things done as quickly as you can so they're off your plate, so you're not carrying them around like around a noose around your neck. And I actually do a lot of my writing in the morning. Like when I'm feeling really creative, that's when I write my posts and all that kind of stuff. Because yeah, I feel like a little bit more switched on. By the afternoon, there's absolutely nothing to me.
Tip number 6 is have a structured weight program. And I don't see lots of people going wrong with this, right? They just like turn up to the gym with no real idea. They're like, oh, I'll just do whatever I fancy. No. We want progression. So we need to be tracking. So we want a structured weight program. We also want to change that every 6 to 8 weeks, because our bodies will adapt. Our muscles will get used to the movements we're doing. So every 6 to 8 weeks, we want to change it up. Shock the body into growth, into stimulus by doing something different.
And if you don't know how to do that, get some support and help. And actually, There's loads of stuff online. Just make sure you're following the right person and not some fancy Instagram star who doesn't really know what they're doing. That's a whole nother podcast. Anyway, the next one is number 7. Have a weekly catch up with friends. Now, I know that James and I have really grown in this area. I became very isolated over COVID because we had to, and then with our online business, I don't think I was getting enough social interaction at all. And that actually started to make me feel quite low and depressed. And I know the same for James. And we were obviously moving from Spain back to England in that time. So our lives were quite disjointed. I now, without a doubt, meet up with friends a couple of times a week, go out for coffees, do stuff with people. And my happiness and my sense of fulfillment has definitely increased. I really feel that. And I know James now once a week goes out to your Thai boxing.
Yeah. Catch up with the old guys from my ministry days, and then I make an effort to try and connect with friends as often as I can, actually.
No, it can feel, especially at midlife, it can feel like a real, we do tend to isolate ourselves a bit more. We've got busier lives. Men particularly begin to isolate themselves as they get older. And I know it can feel like a real faff and a real effort, but it is so, so important. I can't stress the importance of this enough, is to have that weekly catch up with friends. And again, like studies have found that it increases dopamine and oxytocin, which obviously reduces stress and boosts mood. So even though you're like, oh, I can't be bothered to go out, you know that you're going to get a really massive reward from that. And actually, again, a study found that people who have regular social interactions are 12 times more likely to feel happy. So don't put it off. Make the effort to go and see friends and catch up with them. The next one is number 8, is journaling. I'm a massive fan of journaling. A study found that writing before bedtime, actually, about positive experiences that you've had in the day helps people fall asleep 37% faster and improves sleep quality. I know, again, that really works for me. I'm mainly journal in the evening. I write down, we'll go on to this in a minute, around gratitude. But again, I don't give myself loads of structure. I just write about what's on my mind, get my emotions out. Because a study has actually found this fascinating. Cambridge University Press actually found that writing about emotions helps process them and reduces anxiety symptoms by 28%. And again, I can totally relate to that. Like getting it out on a piece of paper stops the muddle in our head. A lot of the time, this is why I get clients to do this all the time. It's all jumbled in our head. Just getting it down on paper almost releases the power out of it, and you can help. It builds resilience, it builds self-understanding and self-awareness and self-compassion. And you're just able to unmuddle your thoughts a lot better. So yeah, journaling is a massive game changer as well.
And linked to that is number 9, which is gratitude. And listen, we're always banging on about the power of gratitude, right?
Massively.
There's so much research into this area now from schools of positive psychology. People who are grateful generally have better health. They're 25% happier. They have better life outcomes. So just by being more optimistic, you actually have better things happen in your life than if you're pessimistic. The important thing is, like, when you're being grateful, you have to actually allow yourself to feel the emotion of it as well. So for some people, it might help to actually connect to the specific memory of the thing that they're grateful for, so they can feel it in their body. But when we do that, we get lower blood pressure, better heart health, stronger immune system, better sleep, even better relationships. And it's really simple to do. Simple as just reflecting on 3 things you're grateful for from the day before, 3 things in life you're generally grateful for, and then setting a positive intention for the day.
Yeah, massive. Honestly, this has been the fundamental for years and years and years with all of our clients, and they've all reported back. And this is something that we do on a regular, every day. I do this. I know James does as well. We sit there and we talk about what we're grateful for. And guess what? When you an attitude of gratitude means that you attract more things. You're becoming more aware of the things to be grateful for. We always spend so much time thinking about what we don't have and less time about what we do have, but actually we're rewiring the brain with gratitude. So yeah, I really, really encourage you to take that away and do that.
Tip number 10 is to watch your screen time.
Oh,
Now, I've got some research here. It says the average person checks their phone 96 times per day.
more.
I reckon way more
Yeah,
than that. I reckon
that
way more. Listen, reducing screen time has been shown. It can improve attention span and reduce mental fatigue by up to 50%. And we especially want to limit it in the evening, right? So rather than sitting there watching TV and doom scrolling, or even worse, getting into bed and scrolling, something's happening there, right? Number 1, we're being stimulated because we're actually absorbing what's in the feed. But number 2, even the blue light is disrupting our natural melatonin, which is a hormone that preps us for sleep. So we definitely want to get off those screens at least 2 hours before bed. And we just want to be more mindful of how much time we're spending online and what we're doing when we are online. I found some research that families who have screen-free meals experience 35% more meaningful conversations and better emotional connection, which makes sense when you think about it.
Oh, I hate it it makes me really sad. Like when you're out actually for dinner and you see
people on their phone,
that are family that are sat there.
It's worse when you see a couple and they're both on their phones.
Oh, I think it's worse when you see a family, because that's really special time, and actually they're with their children, and that time is going to fly by. They're going to grow old very quickly in a blink of an eye. And actually those precious moments you've spent sitting in your own little shell inside your phone and not experience. This is why our emotional connections with people are getting, smaller and more fraught. So I would just say, be really, really conscious of this. Be present with your family. It's so overlooked. Anyway, that's my little rant about that. Anyway, number 11 is, this is such a game changer as well. I know I keep saying this about everyone, but this is something, again, that has changed my relationship with James 100%, is even 5 minutes connection with your partner can strengthen your bonds, reduce stress, increase happiness, reduce that conflict, and increase that physical and mental intimacy. Men and women are very, very different. We process information differently. We process our emotions differently. And what we always want to do is just be curious. We say this all the time. Be curious about your partner. We might have been with them for a long time. It might be that we feel like we're growing apart with all the pressures of daily life. But this is something like 5 minutes of just coming back together and asking each other, being curious, asking, how was your day? What's going on for you right now? And actually practice listening, active listening, rather than joining that conversation with wanting to say something and get your thoughts across. Be an active listener and just be there. Don't give solutions, just listen to them. Let them know that you're present for them. It can, honestly, it's a game changer. And James and I do this every single morning and most evenings, but particularly in the morning we do this. And a piece of research says that couples who regularly engage in intentional conversations, there's the word, intentional, where there's not, it needs to be 5 minutes, no more than that. And I know you might be listening going, how can I have an intentional conversation with my partner? It's 5 minutes, guys. And you're prioritizing everything else other than your relationship. And then we wonder why they fall apart. So 5 minutes of intentional conversation is not much to ask from the person that you spend your life with. And it's so important. Don't let this fall right down to the bottom of your list. And this piece of research said that couples that engage in those intentional conversations are 35% less likely to experience major conflict. So a huge one. And finally, number 12 is just get outside more. Spending just 10 minutes outside in nature lowers cortisol, our stress hormone, and reduces anxiety. Even in this weather, people, get outside, move your butt, and just enjoy a bit of nature, or just walk around the block. Because this, again, this, we know, yes, it's about health and moving your body and stuff, but it is about those feel-good endorphins. We need to get a little bit of vitamin D when it's light outside as much as we can. But it's just going to take you away from your screen time. It's going to get you outside, and it's going to honestly improve your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And a study on blue zones, you've probably heard blue zones, places where people live the longest, found that regular time outdoors does contribute to a longer life expectancy. It was one of those main points of the blue zones, if they spend a lot of time outside. That's all very well if you live in sunny climates, but it's no excuse. We can still get out and get the benefits of that as well. So unless you've got anything to add on number 12, James, or anything else I've said.
No, I mean, I think I'm just thinking there's loads more tips we could throw
There
in
are
there.
so many more.
Let's keep it to those 12.
Should we
keep
have a
it
recap?
succinct. Yeah, plan your meals. Sit down and plan your meals at the weekend so you know what you're eating the week ahead and make sure they're healthy. Eat at least 2 hours before bedtime.
Drink a glass of water between each alcoholic drink. Eat protein on your plate first before anything else, particularly carbs.
Work out when your productive time is and use that for new projects. Make sure you've got a structured weights program and you're changing it every 6 to 8 weeks.
Make the effort to have a weekly catch up with friends, and spend some time journaling your emotions and your thoughts out.
Spend time creating a gratitude practice and make sure you really allow yourself to feel that gratitude. Limit your screen time.
And last two, find 5 minutes each day. Make 5 minutes a priority to connect with your partner each day, and get your butt outside, even if it's just for 10 minutes in nature. So I hope that helps. You know, like, as I said, there's 12 there. There's literally double that amount, if not triple that amount, that we could have gone through, but we don't want to overwhelm you. And they are quite small things. What I might suggest is you want to take 2 of those things, really nail those, and then move on to the next one. So now those maybe for a couple of weeks, and then once those are in a bit more of your daily routine, go on to the next. But these are small incremental changes. It's not about doing anything big. It's not about the one secret thing. It's about small implementations of changes over time that will make the most difference to your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. So would love to hear your thoughts on this, what resonated with you. And we're going to put the link again into the show notes to pre-order James's book now. Ladies, this is also for you. It's not just for the men, it's for ladies as well, because it can really help us understand the men that we love in our life. If you've seen some changes, us women are a lot easier at kind of noticing this stuff. I know that sounds a little bit, but we can notice these things. And if you are concerned and you are worried, then this book is all about giving that understanding for what's going on. That's empowering them with understanding, and you with understanding, but also giving tools to make meaningful change. And that's the most important thing, because we want to give men a voice to be seen, heard. And this book does that. I'm going to bleat on about it forever and ever, how amazing this book is. Okay, so we are sending you so much love. If you've got any thoughts, team@themidlifementors.com, and see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to take the Midlife Reset Audit now to receive personalised insights into what's holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife. So go ahead and take the audit now at themidlifementors.com/audit.